There is a particular kind of lie that everyone believes because it's comfortable. The lie about Toys R Us goes like this: Amazon killed it. The internet came for the big toy store the way it came for the bookstore and the video store, and one more piece of the old world quietly switched off its lights. It's clean. It's sad in a way that doesn't require anyone to be at fault. And in 2018, when the last American Toys R Us closed and 33,000 people lost their jobs, many of them walking out with no severance, nothing after years on the floor, that was the story printed in the headlines and repeated at dinner tables. Amazon did it. Here is the problem with that story. In its final full years, Toys R Us was still selling roughly 1 out of every 5 toys bought in the United States. 1 in 5. It was still making money on the toys it sold. A company with that kind of grip on its market does not simply die of competition. So if the store was profitable and dominant and beloved, what actually killed it? The answer isn't in Seattle. It's in a boardroom in 2005. It's in a single financial maneuver with a boring name. And once you understand that maneuver, you can never quite believe the Amazon story again. Start with what was lost. Charles Lazarus opened Toys R Us in 1948 as a baby furniture store, and it became an American institution. It invented the model everyone copied. The enormous, brightly lit warehouse stacked to the ceiling with every toy imaginable. For generations, it was the place. The reward for a birthday or a good grade. Geoffrey the giraffe was as familiar as any face in the country. And crucially, it was not a failing business when the story turned. It commanded roughly 1/5 of the entire United States toy market. That is a market leader. Yes, by the early 2000s the pressure was real. Walmart and Target were selling toys as loss leaders. Amazon was growing. It needed to modernize. But needing to modernize is not the same as dying. In 2004, with the share price sluggish, the board made a fateful decision. It put the company up for sale. The instrument that killed Toys R Us is called a leveraged buyout. Stay with me, because this is the mechanism, and the mechanism is the entire crime. In July 2005, 3 firms bought Toys R Us: private equity giants KKR and Bain Capital, and real estate firm Vornado Realty Trust. Now here is the sleight of hand at the center of it. When an ordinary person buys something, they pay for it with their money. When these firms bought Toys R Us, they mostly used someone else's, and then handed the bill to the company itself. They put up only around $1.5 billion of their own equity. The remaining $5 billion or so was borrowed. And in a leveraged buyout, that borrowed money gets placed onto the books of the company being purchased. Toys R Us was made responsible for paying it back. The clearest way to picture it: imagine a stranger takes out a mortgage to buy your house. Then, the moment they own it, they hand you the monthly mortgage statement and tell you to pay it, while they keep the rent. You are now working to pay off the loan that transferred your own home away from you. That is what was done to Toys R Us, at the scale of billions of dollars. The effect was not subtle. Before the buyout, the company held around $2.2 billion in cash, with a debt load it could comfortably carry. After the buyout, the debt ballooned to $5 billion, and by some accountings considerably higher once every obligation is counted, while the cash reserves bled down to around $300 million by 2017. And every year from then on, Toys R Us had to pay somewhere between $400 million and $500 million just to service that debt. Not to reduce it. Just the interest. Just to keep the creditors at bay for one more year. Think about what that money could have been. $400 to $500 million a year is a modernized website that could actually rival Amazon. It is renovated stores. It is better pay for the people on the floor. Every dollar of it instead went out the door to lenders, because the company had been forced to borrow against its own survival. Here is the fact that detonates the Amazon myth. If you strip out those debt payments, Toys R Us was still turning an operating profit in its final years. Amazon was a competitor they could have fought. The debt was a weight it could not lift, and that weight was put there on purpose. Throughout their ownership, the firms charged enormous advisory and management fees, money paid to KKR, Bain and Vornado for the service of owning the company, paid whether the company thrived or bled. In earlier reporting, those advisory fees ran to $183 million, about $61 million to each firm, and the structure of the deal itself rewarded piling on more debt. So as Toys R Us sank, the firms that sank it were writing themselves checks drawn on the very company that was drowning. They tried to get out clean by taking the company public again, but the market saw the debt and refused. The exit slammed shut. In 2018, Toys R Us liquidated its entire American operation. Around 800 stores went dark. Approximately 33,000 employees lost their jobs. But the workers did not vanish. They went directly to the firms and demanded their severance. Eventually, a fund was established only because they fought. And the final truth is this: no one broke the law. Not one step of it was a crime. The debt was legal. The fees were legal. The system worked exactly as it was built to work. Toys R Us was not a freak event. It was a template. Borrow heavily, load the debt, extract fees, and walk away when it collapses. Next on Paper Trail, a company that told the world it was worth $9 billion, built on blood testing technology that never worked.